What's going on, everybody? Will here, and today we'll be reviewing The Course of Love by Alain de Botton. If this is your first time here, thanks for stopping by, and if you want more book reviews like these, please consider subscribing to this channel and don't forget to turn on your notifications. So if you're familiar with the way that we do book reviews here at the Book Barrel, we're going to start with the premise point. The premise of The Course of Love is pretty much a romance, and we're following the couple Robbie and Kirsten, and it's set in a present day Edinburgh, Scotland. Robbie is an architect and he's with an architectural firm there, and Kirsten is a project manager, and they come together on a build that they have, and they meet each other. They're both kind of interested, but we don't know which way it's going to go. And then we kind of see things unfold from there. They meet, they greet, and they hit the sheets. On to the polarization point. For this particular book, I think it does differ from a lot of other romances. We want the author to kind of sell it with the language. We want something a little more flowery. Make us feel something. Let's have an emotional reaction. And you will have a reaction to this book, but the writing is matter of fact. The narrator is actually just detailing what happens. Robbie's here, he's doing this, they meet, and you get a little bit of insight into their minds as well. And I think that's another thing that it does well in terms of showing the psychological aspect. Like, people have doubts, people have suspicions. You can be swept away in emotions, and I think they do a good job of detailing it, but they just don't use the flowery language to do so. It's kind of cut and dry. Another thing is the characterization. I think you will really love the characterization, being that, like I said, we have a whole novel to pretty much focus on two characters. They get very deep, and they could very well be real people. I think as you read this novel, you will either be a Robbie or a Kirsten, or once you've read it, you can actually easily point out, like, okay, this person in my life is a Kirsten, this person is a Robbie, or you'll just be able to recognize them in your day-to-day life as if they were people. They could very easily be family members, friends, neighbors. I think they took kind of a non-traditional route to tell a romance story. And what they did, pretty much we get to see, they call it The Course of Love for a reason, and that title couldn't be more apropos. So we see it from the very beginning of their initial meeting, kind of the infatuation and the sparks that fly. A little bit of a more mature love develops. They marry, they have children. They have some hurdles in terms of, the marriage life. There's a little bit of infidelity in there and some reconciliation. And so it kind of follows the entire course of a relationship. And I really appreciate it. Like I said, the detail that they gave to each character. You see psychological motivations, you see insecurities, you see what drew them together. And so I think he does an excellent job, de Botton, painting that picture and giving us the insight, as well as just seeing the transaction of day to day. Okay, we're working together. How does that work? You're into this person, but then you also work together. So that's an element. And even with them having kids, okay, so we love each other, but now we have kids. How does that weigh on the relationship? What changes are there? And so I think he does a good job of being realistic and just kind of showing you the course of love. I know a lot of romance stories pretty much are kind of front loaded. So they want to tell you where they were before, how they met. It's a build up, and you kind of cover the infatuation stage and the marriage, but you don't get into the details that follows. The kids, the everyday tasks, paying the bills, just life. And I think he did an excellent job covering it. And he's also a philosopher, so he's bringing things that you can do to help your own relationship. He kind of says, like, expect. I don't want to spoil the main takeaway, so I'm not even gonna say it. Moving on to the purchase point, I definitely would say this is a 5 out of 5. It's a good read. It's a good read. I'll recommend it to everybody. If you're in a relationship, if you just got out of a relationship, if you're going into a relationship, especially if you are really big into the romance genre and you're used to kind of like the over the top. If you're used to the over the top kind of displays and just, oh, it's grandiose, everything is beautiful, this is one that'll ground you a little bit. And that's pretty much all I have for today. So guys, if you have watched up until this point, I definitely want to say thank you. I appreciate the time that you spend here at the channel. I do ask that you would go ahead and subscribe, hit the like button, and say something nice in the comments. I love to hear from you.